What's going on, YouTubers, for ladies and gentlemen? It's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone. Now, in this video, and by the way, please ignore the background. My brother was doing laundry, and those are basically bed sheets. But nevertheless, so folks, in this video, um, last video I did, what comes to, what I'll talk about on the subject was a couple of releases in the world of pro wrestling. What came to WWE, and also what comes to AEW. We're gonna get that AEW thing first out of the way. But before we do, as of the last 24 hours, when it came to Black Friday, now we enter into Black Saturday because we got more releases. 4 WWE releases that's happened. Um, you know, um, from 24 hours later. When it came to Friday, when the news broke, during SmackDown, and we'll run that down, a little bit later as well, and we'll run down also what comes to former releases we came to as well, and when it comes to one detail, release, from Sonya Deville herself. We'll get to that later on. But before we do, let's get back to AEW. What comes to the reasoning of the firing of Bear Boulder, who is no longer with the company of AEW due to an arrest that was made, and that's one of the reasons why he was being let go. And the reason why they had to let him go is because he was involved of a battery assault on his fiance by strangulation. And this event apparently that's happened back in January of 20. I mean January of the 14th, I should say, of last month. And basically, all the details I heard was that this isn't the first time he's been doing this with his fiance. It's been happening numerous of times. And when it came to his arrest of this happening, of strangling his wife with his basically having his foot over his fiance, I should say, his foot over his fiance's neck, choking her out, strangling her in a way, where she lost consciousness, and then regain consciousness to the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm assuming that's how long she's been out. And he's been arrested ever since. And then AEW had learned from this recently to a point where they had to let him go, which I don't fault them for that. So Bear Boulder is no longer there in the company with AEW. In fact, he should never be in any wrestling promotion ever again. He should be blackballed. He should be removed. He should never be in the world of pro wrestling ever again. And for that, fuck him. Hope to give him the book, and I hope that when it comes to him getting the book, that he'll rot in hell for the rest of whatever years he'll get in prison. Now, what comes to the Iron Savages, because before they was just called Bear Country. What comes to Bear Bronson, what's gonna happen with Bear Bronson and this other guy they were with? I don't know, but I'm not gonna lose sleep for that one when it comes to that. But either way, that's the unfortunate news there. What comes to those two guys, maybe they'll be a new tag team now, so we'll see how that turns out for them. Not that I will care, because I'm not gonna watch Ring of Honor, because that's basically where they've been at, since being there, since there's no more AEW Dark. So, but now that out of the way, let's get to the other releases that happened. Isla Dawn has been released by WWE, who's part of the Unholy Union with Alba Fire. Now, Alba Fire has not been added to the name of being released. I don't know if she's going to be released later on, maybe. I doubt that, but maybe the WWE sees more of Alba Fire than anything than Isla Dawn. And can't remember last time we saw Isla Dawn, other than maybe she was on NXT with Alba Fire. I'm assuming that's where Isla saw her. I can't remember last time I saw an episode of NXT to know of her being on there as well, but I digress. But Isla Dawn is no longer there, and we'll see what happens with her on the next 90 days. I think she will be fine out wherever she'll land. But nevertheless, then we get to Giovanni Vinci. If only I can say to that person on YouTube, I told you so. So yes, Giovanni Vinci was no longer safe in WWE. It was only a matter of time before they did what they did with him, repackaging him, sending him, from Raw out of Imperium to SmackDown, doing vignettes, only for him to lose 2 matches, one in a short period of seconds against Apollo Crews, and then having a match against Apollo Crews like about maybe 2 weeks later, and then having more time to wrestle him, only to lose to him, and then attacking him after the match, which led to nothing. And then he was in the background sometimes. So he sometimes will even be on Speed, which no one watches anyways. And sometimes he would be behind the scenes on SmackDown. Last we saw from on behind the scenes of SmackDown, where Cody Rhodes and Carmelo Hayes were having words with each other, and that's basically the last time we saw of Giovanni Vinci. But I knew that Giovanni Vinci was eventually going to be let go because the lack of amusing this guy after his loss to Apollo Crews, who haven't been doing much with him as well, but he's been featured a lot more than Giovanni Vinci has, and surprised that Apollo Crews is not in that list as well. So, but Giovanni Vinci is gone now. I knew this was going to happen. Again, if I can tell that person on Facebook, who has been going back and forth with me about the uses of Giovanni Vinci, and he couldn't come up with anything of why they've been they're not using him, or why they're using or what's the idea of why they're using him that way, and and his argument was that well, at least he's being featured, at least he's being put on TV. Yeah, let's ignore the fact that they stopped using him after that. Other than Speed, house shows, and whatever have you. Hell, maybe he was on main event. Who knows? The point is, I was right. He was wrong. If only I could tell him about it, but I'm not gonna lose sleep for that. I'm not gonna care for that either way. So, but Giovanni Vinci, he should have been used a lot better in WWE, and it's unfortunate that didn't happen. It's not his fault. It's Triple H's fault. And then we get to, which is this is kind of funny because I mentioned these guys when I went to the last video when it comes to talking about the WWE releases, and that is the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. That's right, the OC are no longer there, and well, kicking the balls too for Carl Anderson because he's still recovering from an injury he had. I don't know what injury he dealt with, but he's still hurt, and don't know what's going to happen once he's recover. I know he'll do fine though, but yeah, I mentioned these guys before. They were this ain't been the first time they've been released by WWE when it comes to even though they signed a contract with them and everything. But just because you sign a contract with them, that's mean you're gonna be having job security, and they learned that the hard way. When they signed that contract back in 2019, only to be released in 2020, not to the fault of their own. It's just that it was a pandemic, and it was WWE was going through budget cuts, even though they were making a lot more money after that. Despite all of this man and all that, when it comes to losing a lot of stocks and everything, but they're a prime example where it came to, even though you signed a contract, that they could let you go at any time they please to. Even though if you didn't do anything wrong, they just felt there was no need of them in a way. And that's exactly how I feel about what came to Cedric Alexander. Where Cedric Alexander recently just signed a contract with WWE not too long ago from last year, only to comes to this year. That if they feel the need to let you go, if they need to let you go anytime they want to, as they please, and they'll do so. And Cedric Alexander, as being one of those guys that they let go, and basically, that's the category that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were dealt with back in 2020. Not to the fault of their own. It's just the way of the nature of the business. So, so what's gonna happen with the OC? Obviously there is no more OC because Michin is gonna be doing her own garbage thing. When it comes to um, you know, just doing garbage stuff. With BFAB. BFAB, I can see her going places. If they take the time with her and everything. Just don't put the bill on Michin when it comes to her program with Just Green. But back to the Good Brothers. They could go to TNA Wrestling if they want to. They could go to AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling. They'll be fine. They'll be going back to those to there. Now, here's the thing: do they need to go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling to be part of Bullet Club? I don't know. We shall see what happens with them. But I know they'll be fine. Outside of WWE because they had been before, and they got their own podcast. So we'll see what happens with that too. I don't know. I just hope that AJ Styles don't blame Paul Heyman like he did last time. This time, Paul Heyman's not to blame. It's Triple H. Let's get back to some details when it comes to 3 people so far, and that is one of them, Cedric Alexander. Now, if he does go back to AEW, if he ever goes to AEW, I should say. Here's the thing. The Tony Khan want Cedric Alexander going to AEW after the debacle from back in what 2021 with the whole thing with Big Swole. Because Big Swole is married to Cedric Alexander, so who's to say that there's gonna be some a little tensions there, and very awkward there because to Cedric Alexander and Tony Khan there because of of Cedric's wife, everything that's happened with that whole thing. But either way, who knows if that's going to be the case or not. But look past that and all that because it has nothing to do with Cedric Alexander. Whatever issue with Big Swole and Tony Khan has, hopefully that'll be put in the back burner and bringing Cedric Alexander to be part of the Hurt Syndicate and pick up where they left off. Or something that could have been something great in WWE. At the time when they were called the Hurt Business. But we'll see how that turns out once 90 days is up. So we won't be looking into it until like maybe around June. We'll see what happens from there. What comes to it. At least I think once we get to June, that's where he's gonna probably gonna show up there. Or it could be May. We shall see. But either way, we'll see where that turns out. How that turns out. Blair Davenport. Here's a reasoning of and details of her when it comes to Triple H's failures here. Because this is very important when it comes to Blair Davenport, and she's gonna be a prime example of that. With other people, during the administrations in WWE, what came to, people coming from NXT to the main roster, and that is Blair Davenport. With her being called up last year to be part of the main roster, it seems to me that since calling her up, there was no plans at all. No clear plans whatsoever of Blair Davenport coming up to the main roster. Because remember, when she was being drafted, we didn't see much of her, for weeks. And then they did a video vignette about her, her making her SmackDown debut. And then, don't know much of what they did with her other than her in a program with Naomi. And I remember she lost a match against Naomi, and they attacked her. I don't know if she ever got a win back from Naomi. It doesn't matter. That's neither here or there. And of what I heard, she doesn't have that much matches on SmackDown. I can't remember how many matches she had, but I can't remember seeing much of her having so many matches on SmackDown. It's not like she was hurt or anything. She was fine. But this is a prime example of Triple H dropping the ball on someone like a Blair Davenport who should have been been used a lot more on SmackDown and didn't have no clear plans for her. I thought the whole point of calling someone from NXT is that you're gonna have a plan for them on the main roster, and Blair Davenport for some reason just slipped through the cracks. I don't understand this. I thought Triple H's mentality is that you know you'll have a plan for them once you get a call from NXT, and that wasn't the case at all. But Triple H now going back on his words now when it comes to that, but she was not being used to her full potential, and it's unfortunate. She never even get a chance to fail. They just didn't have anything for her. That's the whole thing. Korea had nothing for her, and if that's what's the case, then why'd you call her up in the first place? It was like with Dr. Kovic or Dijak. He got called up, and they did nothing with him. And we didn't know he got called up. He was a part of that whole you know the supplement drafts that they do. Once everyone is already been drafted on TV. He was one of the people that was drafted who was not even on TV to be drafted. And then we saw his fate. Now he's gone. And here we are with Blair Davenport. Now, at least she was drafted on TV and she was mused to for her limited time that they mused her. But after that they did nothing with her. And that's not her fault. That's Triple H's fault. And whoever is beyond Brian Craig at that time. Of Blair Davenport. But she'll be fine. She'll be going other places now. Does she go back to AEW? Does she go back to Stardom? There's a hint there that she might go back to Stardom. So we'll see what happens with that one. But she got to wait 90 days. So. And then we get to Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville is a tricky one because of what I heard, this wasn't much sort of a selected release for the Sonya Deville. It's more of her contract is coming up. And it's going to be coming up at the end of this month. Basically, once February is over, that's it. Sonya Deville is gone from WWE, and which means she will not be affected of the 9 days not compete. She can go wherever she wants without the 9 days not compete. And when it comes to NXT, they can't go anywhere until the next 30 days, and that's through customs case alone. As far as main roster people, they had to wait 90 days. And Cedric Alexander, even though he's on NXT, he was still part of the main roster, which means he still gets 90 days not compete. So that's why he won't be going anywhere until the next 90 days is up, because he was part of the main roster. He signed that main roster contract. And if Apollo Crews was gone, around that time, he probably would have got the same thing too. Mustafa Ali, he had to wait 90 days, even though he was sent back to NXT. But still, he was still part of the main roster, so he still had had a fair shake of that. An unfair shake of to wait 90 days, like with Andy Brooke, who's now trashed by elegance. So it's unfortunate when it comes to that. I thought there was reports of it at the time, well, I can't remember last year, that those could do no more non-compete stuff. Because that was a big problem with with McMahon. Where we came to that the whole thing. So I don't know why that's still a thing when it comes to it. In fact, I don't know if it's just any other places that does that as well because of non-competes. I don't know. Unless you want to sign an NDA, whatever. But either way, yeah, that's basically the whole thing with it. So as far as Sonya Deville is concerned, when it comes to it, yeah, she cannot wait 90 days, because she's unless they want to just let her go. That's gonna be a different case, and they could be dick about it, but then I don't think they're gonna do that with Sonya Deville. Because Sonya Deville has done so much for the company, and and done a lot of things for them, and really had the best time of her life, even though with this man not doing much with her either, or didn't care to do much with her. But there was something there with Sonya Deville. But it's just that some people didn't care for her. And on top of that, the whole thing with from 2020, that whole debacle of the kidnap, this kidnapped stalker rubber person that was, who attempted to do something to Somerville and Mandy Rose. That took 20 years of her life, and then we came to her injury, that she took a lot. She was gone for that long period of time. She never recovered from any. I mean, she recovered after returning, um, and having a prominent role. When it comes to being an authority figure, with Alan Pierce. But after the injury, she was never the same again. Her injury, affected her fully. Not that she was great, to begin with, but she was she was still decent in the ring where, yeah, she could hang her with with anyone that she can get in the ring with, and be on that level. But unfortunately, she never passed that certain level to be where she needed to be. So as far as she goes, maybe TNA. That way she could still have that relationship with WWE, because the partnerships and everything. I don't know. We shall see. I hope she does go to to TNA wrestling, because TNA wrestling is it's a vehicle to improve your wrestling. Not so much for trash by elegance, obviously, for obvious reasons, but that's all we gotta sometimes you gotta go to to at least build up your credibility once again, and that's all there is to it. So okay, folks, now I got the list. 10 people released: Cedric Alexander, Akam, Razor, Paul Ellering, Blair Davenport, Sonya Deville, when it comes to her contract not renewing. Aladon, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and Giovanni Vinci. All 10, um, and including also NXT's Duke Hudson, which makes it 11. All gone from WWE. Now, as far as what they're going to do with Sonya Deville, um, will they keep her on TV or will they keep her off TV? I don't know. Because, again, we still got this whole pure garbage collective thing going on Raw. So we'll see basically we had to tune on Raw to see what happens with that. So that'll be a clear direction to see what they do with that whole thing. Or they could just not address it and or just forget about it and just have Sonya Deville not be on TV and have Zoe Stark, just do matches, whatever, and Shane Baszler do her own thing, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's gonna be interesting to see what they do moving forward. So, with that being said, folks, thank you all for watching. That's all I gotta say for that, and that's pretty much it there. So, with that being said, I'll see you on another video, and that's all. And please enjoy watching the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday. Doesn't matter if you're not a fan of the Chiefs or if you're not a fan of the Eagles. At least you can do is just also watch the commercials and the halftime show featuring Kendrick Lamar. So, that being said, it's Natural Born Thriller. As I say, peace on Studio. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourself, and have a world. For I am out here, that's for now, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. God bless. And for everyone that got released from WWE, wish them all of their future endeavors. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not pulling a John Laurinaitis when it comes to being an asshole or a dick about it. I'm sincere for all 11 in that from WWE that been let go, except for Sonya Deville, obviously, because her contract ain't expired yet until the end of February. But still, I still wish her all the best as well of her future endeavors, and to everyone else, wishing all well of their future endeavors. So, and when it comes to Bear Boulder, fuck him. So that being said, take care of yourselves and each other. God bless, and take care.